What's up, guys? This is Kephas. And we are back with more WoW Classic leveling. Hopefully, we won't die as much this time, but no promises because it's been rough here. It's been rough with these all these human characters that like to just hit you as a group, and it gets crazy, you get overwhelmed. At least I do. Part of the problem is that in retail, I can see nameplates from further away, but in Classic, you can't. You have to be at a certain range before nameplates pop up. So enemies kind of surprise attack me, and it can get kind of crazy. So I'm trying my best to see them from a distance, but I mean, it's very difficult because there's a lot of things happening on the screen, for me at least. So, I just do the best I can. But what I wanted to talk about today, I actually get this asked a lot. So, talking about like my vision, I've talked a lot about that. People have been, pretty positively receptive to it, and I'm glad. I mean, I appreciate your interest and, whatever. And of course, a lot of people who have disabilities watch my videos. So, obviously, I'm visually impaired, and the two questions I get asked most often about being visually impaired. Let's just go kill some tigers today. I'm just gonna go work on some skins. That's fine. The first question is, the most common question I get asked is my work. Working and what's that like? Is it challenge? Do I have a job? And what's working been like? And I've spent a lot of time answering that question in previous episodes. And so I wanted to talk about the second question I get asked a lot, and that is my my dating life, my romance life, and all that kind of stuff. So I get that asked a lot. That's the second most common question. Actually, it's kind of become more of the most common question I get asked because I've talked about the fact that I have a wife. Obviously, we're expecting our first child. We're buying a home and all that kind of stuff. So it's obviously the whole dating thing ultimately worked out for me. So, I thought I would talk about that a little bit. So I will say, I guess it's different for everybody. Because I know a lot of people who are disabled, who have vision problems, and it's not a problem, right? And I think there are a lot of factors to why that is. I can tell you right now that, it's like with anything else. If you have a disability, it will probably turn some people off. Okay, that's just the way it is. I mean, if you're overweight, it's going to turn people off. If you're skinny, it's going to turn people off. If you're tall, it's going to turn people off. If you have no money, it's going to turn people off. Where you're from will turn some people off. People have their thing, and that's the way it is, and it's harsh, but it's the truth. And so, I mean, I've experienced that myself. So, but I can tell you, and it's if you really like somebody or whatever, you're interested in, if you get rejected for that, it can sting. For sure. If you get rejected because of your disability, or you think it might, most people won't say that's why. They definitely won't come out and say it, but sometimes you kind of get that feeling from them, but try to look at it from their perspective. Sometimes it's not so much, it's more like maybe they don't know if they would be right for you. They would feel like there's a lot of responsibility on them. And a lot of times it's just it's just what people might not know about you. And so I guess I can kind of sympathize with those fears and concerns. But at the same time, it's, because we all kind of have I don't know if I would date this person because of this. So to me, I don't see it as anything different. Other people might feel differently about it. They might see it as, ableist or something. I don't. I think people have the right to, go for what they want and what, and if I guess what I'm saying is I'd rather someone, if they don't think they could be with someone who's visually impaired, then there you go. There's your answer. It's not going to work, right? Because that's a big part of you. And so if people feel that way, it's what it is. You definitely don't want to force them to, I mean, obviously, and you also wouldn't want them to, wouldn't want to get into it and then find out that that's the truth. So you want to be with someone who has decided that obviously that's not a problem for them. So yeah, it does it happen? Sure. But I would say that in my experience, it doesn't happen nearly as often as you would think. And I would say that, like, just being honest, like in my dating experiences, it was more like just like I had cousins and family members who dated a lot, and I was the type of person who didn't date a lot. So I was more shy, more of a nerd, and just that type of guy. So I mean, I wasn't like a weirdo, I guess, but and honestly, like I had a lot of like. And I'm not saying this to brag, and this is what I'm kind of getting at here, is that like I would think that my vision would turn people off, and that made me sometimes, I guess, like insecure or more reluctant to go for it when, like if there was someone I was interested in, like if I would maybe have asked. Like there were times where people would tell me flat out, like if you had asked, I would have gone out with you for sure. Like that would happen a lot. So a lot of times, like at least in my experience, I held myself back more to date people when I was in high school and younger, because of just my lack of I guess lack of confidence, and I'm just being completely honest there. So like if anything, it was me that was more of a problem than my vision. So that's I can be honest about that and say that. And now obviously I'm glad because I ended up meeting the person of my dreams, and it all worked out. So everything worked out. I overcame that, and things worked out well. So, so in terms of dating, I mean, I had girlfriends and, and dated and went on dates and that kind of stuff. But I was definitely like, man, when those griffins fly over, it's kind of creepy. But, it was definitely a challenge. I do think that there are some other like logistical challenges and disadvantages that you might have if transportation is a problem. Then obviously you might have a hard time, because like not so much going on the date itself, because like the other person, if they don't have a disability or whatever, or they're able to drive, then I'm sure they won't mind driving. So like that's not so much a problem, but it's more like getting out and meeting people, I guess. Like in my area, it's hard to do that because I don't have the best public transportation. Now nowadays it's not so bad. There's Uber. Like true story. the year I got with my wife, like we started dating and doing stuff together. Uber kind of took off where I lived, and then DoorDash, and then like Kroger delivery, grocery store delivery, like took off. Like, so, like all that stuff that I'm like, that would have been beneficial when I was single and living by myself. Like Uber is definitely, I mean, it's expensive. So like, it's like, like people say, well, just use an Uber to get to work. It's like, yeah, it takes like half your check. So it's not always worth it unless you're getting a really good job. Cause it's very expensive, but it does help. And my cousin who's visually impaired and lives, on his own, he's a little bit more well off, it helps him out tremendously. But like growing up, I didn't have all that stuff. Didn't have the internet, didn't have Uber, didn't have anything. So, it's obviously a lot more difficult to get out there and meet people. And, it's the law of averages. The more you put yourself out there, the more likely you are to meet someone, so if you go to church, if you go to, social events, you're going to meet somebody. Chances are sooner or later, you're going to meet somebody, right? You're just going to, it just happens. Fortunately I did it enough to meet somebody, but, I would say that if anything, that can be more of a challenge for a person who is disabled, is the confinement. And just like with a job, the biggest challenge is transportation. It's the same thing here. Same problem, same issues, right? So if you're not able to meet people, then it's going to be hard to meet people and meet someone that you're interested in and who's interested in you. So that can be a problem as well. But also, like I said, everybody's different. The situations are always different. But I would say that like that's more of a problem than anything. If you can overcome the transportation and, try not to think of like, try, if you're someone who like you think that your vision disqualifies you from like dating, it doesn't, right? It doesn't disqualify you. There's going to be someone out there that doesn't care. My wife was someone that didn't care and still doesn't care, and it adapts, and it works out. And there are plenty of people out there that are, married and they've met somebody, and that they live people are everywhere. I mean, I remember I got into I didn't get into an argument, but someone thought like, how can I say this? People would always tell me like, well, you just need to find someone who's disabled like you. And I would get really annoyed by that, because I'm like, why? Why do I have to find someone who's just like me? Like, why can't I find someone different? And then they would say like, well, why? You don't want to date someone who's disabled? Are you hypocritical? Like, no, I would totally date someone who's disabled. That would not bother me at all. Like, if I met someone who happened to have a vision problem like me, it wouldn't deter me at all. It wouldn't be a factor either way. If they couldn't walk or whatever, that wouldn't bother me either. Like, it's, like, I'm one of those people. And I don't think it's just because I'm visually impaired, but because, like, man, if you meet someone who's awesome, who cares? Like, if they're awesome, they're awesome. You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of how I always thought, so, like, and that's how a lot of people think. If you're awesome to the right person, then your vision problem or whatever is not going to deter them, and that's the thing. And if it does, then that obviously they're not good for you anyways. And that's the important thing to remember. And that's kind of like, I kind of figured that one out fairly early on. And so I kind of got over that aspect of the insecurity, in myself, but it definitely can be like, like I said, like a lot of times your biggest challenge can be your own mind when it comes to that kind of stuff. So to the people that ask me out there, like, can is it hard? Yeah, there are certain things that are challenging. They're pretty obvious things, like I said. But like you can find someone, okay? Like, it's not like it's just as likely as everyone else, because like everybody has something that disqualifies them, okay? People can have perfect 20/20 vision and they can still have something about them that someone's not going to like. There are people that are very like, there are people that are very attractive, but they're just like, they're not the right kind of attractive. Like I had a cousin who's like, I mean, he's never had a problem finding a girlfriend. And, there was a girl that he asked out and she turned him down. I was like, wow, that was kind of surprising, because he's a very handsome guy, but she has she's looking for something specific, like, and that's her. That's what she wants. And that's her thing. And so like, there are people that have particular tastes, they have a vision of what they want, and that's, whether that's right or like, whether that's good or bad for them, it's them, and that you can't control that. So, like I said, and and there have been people out there that like, I've been like, I don't think I would be interested in dating that person, like nothing personal, but, I wouldn't say that I would, just because I had this insecurities and I had a vision problem, that I was necessarily desperate either, so like, it's normal. And so like, you can't, like, you just have to try to like not just think, oh, everybody's going to reject me because I have a disability like that. Don't think like that. Like, I mean, there's just, I mean, I've seen people that have had way more debilitating disabilities than mine find love. I mean, it's just out there, man. I believe in it, and so, and there are people out there that don't have disabilities that feel insecure too. So like, a lot of it's just like you and, the circumstances and the experiences and just, people believe different things, but you just meet the right person at the right time and bam, things work out, and that's kind of the idea. So, yeah, I mean, I get that question asked a lot, and, yeah, I mean, it's crazy just, growing up with, because I've had vision problems my whole life, and, just like everything else, I'd say that my vision shapes me. It's definitely added some challenges, some insecurities at times. Not just with that aspect, but just with other things as well. Just, questioning my own capabilities and pushing myself to overcome those insecurities. And so that would be one of them. So it's more about how you view yourself and, with your disability and just, it's another aspect of it not conquering you, or whatever, however you want to look at that. So keep that in mind, I guess. Like, if, like, I say this a lot, like, if I'm, if I can find someone, you can. I mean, if I can buy, just like, if I can do anything else, like, I believe if I can do it, anybody can. So, just, you got to have hope. You have to have, look at your strengths. Like, are you disabled? Maybe, but are you funny? Cool. Someone's going to like you. You know what I mean? Like, like if you're not a completely horrible person, it doesn't matter what your setback is or whatever. Like, someone's going to like you, man. Or lady, girl, like, just, you gotta know that, like, I mean, you have friends, then people like you as a friend, you know what I mean? So obviously there's someone out there that's going to like you as more than a friend. Like, it's just, I mean, if you're likable, because there's people out there that aren't, like, if you're worried about your looks or whatever, like, there's someone out there that's like, they're not, like, I mean, there's probably going to be someone out there that's going to find you attractive, but even if you're the most hideous person in the world, there's still going to, like, hypothetically speaking, of course, there's still going to be someone out there that doesn't give a crap about what you look like, because you're just an awesome person and you fit what they're looking for. So, like, you just have to have that knowledge and know that, like, I don't know, man. Like, I guess I can say it over and over again. I'm just one of those people that believes there's someone out there for everybody, and I'm living proof of that. So if I, like, then everybody can find somebody, I guess is what I'm trying to say very poorly. So yeah, that's my answer. And people that ask that question, there you go. So yeah, so, yeah, so I don't know what else to say about it. I guess I just get that question asked a lot, and I always try to be as encouraging as I can be, so I hope that was encouraging for someone out there. Maybe someone needed to hear that. I don't know. But, yeah, let me know in the comments below. I mean, as always, I'm always down with knowing, if my crappy advice or just my rambling helps somebody out somehow. So, yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, for listening, for always being a part of my videos, and, checking out what I'm doing as I just kind of ramble on and talk about God knows what and just play WoW poorly. So thank you guys so much for watching. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you guys on the next one. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, let me know by clicking that like button, and feel free to share it with your friends so they can enjoy it as well. And if you'd like to see more videos, you can subscribe to the channel and click on the bell icon to be notified as soon as new videos are posted. You can also follow me on Facebook, and if you'd like, you can support my work on Patreon. Links to all that stuff can be found in the description below. This is Kephas. Until next time.